Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.
Hello, I'm Tony Brooks, and this is Agri Arkansas. Today we're going to take a closer look at the University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service. One of the most extensive resources of information available to Arkansans, the Cooperative Extension Service has locations in all 75 Arkansas counties. Whether you have a small family farm or you plant thousands of acres each year, the Cooperative Extension Service can provide you with ways to increase your yields and improve your operation.
You can get an answer to any question you have on the internet right now, but is it the right answer? The elevator speech is difficult because we do so much and we're so broad. In the Cooperative Extension Service, we have 4 major program areas, and that's agriculture and natural resources, 4-H youth development, family and consumer sciences, and community and economic development. And we have programs that touch every citizen in the state of Arkansas. Our first objective is always to deliver research-based and unbiased information to our citizens. So an example in agriculture is we help row crop producers use integrated pest management in their production of crops, conduct research so that they can make the best and most profitable decisions. And the work we do not only benefits the farmer, it benefits the environment, because through integrated pest management, we only use the product that we need to make the crop. 4-H youth development is probably one thing we're best known for, and within 4-H youth development, we're much more than what you might think. We still have a lot of animal projects, but we have science and technology projects as well. And in family and consumer sciences, nationally, health and obesity and those type issues are on the front page, and we're very much involved in health and nutrition education for the citizens of Arkansas. We work with communities in strategic planning all over the state. I believe we provide a real benefit there to the communities. And we also have a program where we help small businesses interact and secure contracts with government agencies to help their businesses.
The history of extension really started with the Morrill Act in 1862. This was an act to establish land-grant universities all over the country. This was under Abraham Lincoln's administration. And the purpose of the Morrill Act was to develop information that was going to help mostly farmers, but also it turned out to be homemakers and that sort of thing in rural areas, because a huge percentage of the country were living in rural areas in those days, and about 30% of the country were farmers. And so there was a real interest in getting the latest up-to-date research information to help farmers improve their lives. In 1914, the Smith-Lever Act was established, and in 1914, that's when the Extension Service began as an official institution. In the early days, we had a few people in the state office and a few what they called agents out in the counties. And the purpose of the agents was to extend, that's where extension comes from, to extend the information from research, the research that was developed at the University of Arkansas, extend the information to the public. And so extension professionals are really translators, if you want to think of it that way. We translate the research information into information that can be used by the public in various areas. The Extension Service is broken down into several components. There is a state headquarters here in Little Rock, and then there are several research and extension centers around the state that not only have where research are conducted, but also extension specialists that are located there. The specialists in those sites and in Little Rock develop information that go to all 75 counties.
We are one of the 5 research and extension centers for the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture. Our units are full units of the Division of Agriculture. In other words, we have extension and research personnel here who do research and extension activities. A lot of our faculty have both appointments and under both parts of the Division of Agriculture. And what we do is look at the problems of Southwest Arkansas or the Gulf coastal plain and try to develop techniques that will solve those problems through scientific research. Because the problems we have are not different than a lot of problems across the state of Arkansas or across the United States or the world, our solutions have worldwide impact. Some of our beef cattle research, such as working with 300 days of grazing, are impacting nearby states. A lot of our nematode research that we've done here with row crops and plant parasitic nematodes have direct application to farmers in Brazil and Australia. We have a seasoned faculty who are well known within their own disciplines worldwide. So we have the opportunity to do research here and extend that knowledge across the world. But our main focus is solving problems here. The reasons we have these 5 centers across the state is because we're close to the agriculture and we're close to the county agents. We're not in Fayetteville and having to drive 5 hours to the Gulf Coastal Plain to answer a problem.
The University of Arkansas Rice Research and Extension Center, located near Stuttgart, Arkansas, was established in 1925 to help further those production efforts to make Arkansas farmers as productive and profitable as possible. And so this center has been in place for almost 100 years with that primary mission in improving production, improving quality, and improving the overall profitability of the rice farmers in Arkansas. The University of Arkansas has one central theme, and that is improving yields. The most effective way to improve yields is to create better varieties. We do that by we've got 3 breeders on staff, and their primary focus is to develop varieties that have higher yields, that have higher disease resistance, and then have optimum or better quality than what's currently available. So we want a high quality product. That's one of the things that historically has set the United States apart, and that is the primary focus of this breeding program. Rice is a unique commodity. Until just here recently, the majority of all of the rice produced in the state consisted of varieties developed at the University of Arkansas. Unlike other commodities like soybeans, corn, and wheat, where private companies have come in and taken a major role in developing those new varieties, the rice industry is one of the few where the public breeding program is still relevant and still extremely important to our rice farmers.
The 4-H Center in West Little Rock is called the C.A. Vines Arkansas 4-H Center. And C.A. Vines was a former director of the Cooperative Extension Service for a long time. And he lived to be 93 years old and worked out at the 4-H Center every day. And until about 6 months before he died, he was working at that 4-H Center every day, moving and toting and lifting and doing whatever. He was a great guy. And I talked to him one time about applying for another job in extension, and in our conversation he said something I never have forgotten. He said, a good extension person is someone who, if you ask them what time it is, they'll tell you how to make a watch. If you go to a county agent or extension specialist and ask them a question, brace yourself, because you're going to get a lot of information in a hurry.
We'll talk more about the Cooperative Extension Service a little bit later with Kelly Bryant, the director of the Southeast Research and Extension Center in Monticello. But first, farmers in the Delta have been battling a herbicide-resistant weed for a few years now. They're starting to win the battle with a zero-tolerance program.
Toughest plant I ever saw. You can chop them down when it's 100 degrees hot, but that thing will just put a root down. It'll be laying flat on the ground, chopped completely off, and still yet will shoot little old, it don't take anything to go to seed, you know, and it'll still make seed if you're not careful. They're a very, very tough plant. Their whole purpose in life is to make seed, reproduce, you know, and that's what they do. They don't have to be a big, tall plant to do that.
The one that has given us so much trouble is what we call the careless weed or the pigweed, Palmer amaranth. And around 2009, I had sent some samples off of escapes in the fields, and they came back like 10 to 15% resistant to glyphosate or Roundup. Then the next year, I sampled them in the fall and sampled 3 fields. They came back 55, 85, and 100% resistant. That's how much it jumped in 1 year's time.
I can't remember if it was 2009 and 2010. Anyhow, I was at a field day. They brought up a pigweed. We was all very familiar with pigweeds, but Roundup had just been wiping them out for years. But he brought a pigweed up and showed it to us and said that this was a Roundup-resistant pigweed. And we'd been so lucky and so fortunate and farmed so easy that, you know, we didn't have a clue what we were going to get into. None of us did, but we took it lightly. I did for sure, because the following year, 2010, I just see a spotted resistant pigweed just here and there in the fields, just not enough to really even worry with. If I'd had any idea, I'd have went right there and pulled them up, hauled them off, throw them in the hole and burned them like we do now a lot. But I just took it for granted, and then they just exploded on us is what they did, to the point where we, it's just got to costing lots of money per every year, and it's a fight. Well, it's a yearly fight for us now. We just know when we start a crop, we're going to fight resistant pigweed every year.
The program that they have named the Zero Tolerance Program is basically a program that developed from farmers not allowing weeds to survive on the turn rows, ditch banks, or in the field. When it first started here, our farmers definitely was a difference in how they addressed this problem. We had just a handful that started out with the Zero Tolerance Program, and then as others saw the benefit, they also started got on board with the program and did the Zero Tolerance Program. Some of them by choice. Some of them realized that their landlords was watching the other farmers doing a better job of cleaning up the field and looked better. The landlords liked that good, clean look. And they kind of put a little pressure on them. You could call it peer pressure. That, hey, I want my field to look like that. So, though, you know, and land is competitive. Trying to rent land is very competitive in our area. So, a guy decided I better step up too and go that extra mile. So, a little bit of pressure. Plus, it makes you look like a better farmer when you're doing this program.
These weeds, once they reach 6, 7 inches, 8 inches in height, there's nothing but cold blue steel, a hoe, that's going to kill them. If we drive by a field, my employees or me, either one, and we see a weed that has escaped, we'll go pull it. I hire crews to go through the fields to cut the ones that have come up that we've missed, and you'll go through a field and cut them out, and then in 2 weeks you'll see some more that's popped up, and we go back and get those again. Because each one that goes to seed is several thousand seeds that will be resistant that you'll deal with the next year. So as many as we can get, out of the field, we do.
When you were in the 50s and 60s and 70s of cotton farming, just for instance, chopping cotton was just something we did. When I was a kid, I grew up chopping cotton. Everybody chopped cotton, seemed like, and it was just part of the culture out there. Then when the Roundup system came on and we cleaned up all these farms and went across the farms and didn't need that, it really reduced the amount of hand labor that we hired, and we didn't have that need for them. But then in the last few years, when we got these resistant weeds, the need for hand labor in the field has increased dramatically.
On my operation, it's over $100,000 a year, just for big weeding, just strictly hiring crews to go out there and either when they're early before they go to what we call go to seed, they can just chop them down at that point. But when they go to seed, then they've got to come out of the field and be hauled off, which is slow and takes a lot of labor. So, I'm spending over $100,000 a year and have for the last probably 3 at least. It just got worse and worse every year to that point.
If you venture off the highway into the business districts of small towns throughout Arkansas, you may be surprised at what you'll find. Let's take a look.
Our establishment is unique in many ways. The Dirty Farmers Community Market is located in Clinton, Arkansas, and we are a nonprofit organization that's main mission is to meet the needs of the community, whatever that might be. What started off to be just a community farmers market and a place for artists and crafters to sell their merchandise has turned into a local hub where people can come, they can enjoy a healthy, nutritious meal at our Greater Good Cafe, which is an eat what you need, pay what you can cafe. It's also a place where our volunteers can give back to the community and help meet the needs of the community as far as food insecurities, and now we're going to be addressing senior hunger in our community. Actually, we started the market, it's going to be 3 years in May. About 2 years before that, I was running for public office. I met a lot of farmers that were frustrated that they didn't have enough opportunities to sell their produce to the community. The idea of a farmer's market grew from there. The cafe came about because having all that wonderful produce available, I started making lunch for my husband and for the volunteers. And then the customers wanted lunch. So my husband decided we needed to open a cafe and do an eat what you need, pay what you can lunch. Once we started the cafe and we saw the need for folks not only to have some place where they can get a good nutritious meal at a decent price, but our produce was going off the shelves before we could even fill it up. So we decided that if we grew our own food, our own produce, and filled the bins, not only would we meet the needs of the customers, but food insecurity for our seniors. We're #1 in the nation for food insecurity in our seniors. And what better way than to give them some of that produce that we grow? So it really started, the idea to address senior hunger came from the cafe. So many of our seniors eat here on a daily basis that this is one more way that we can help meet those needs. The Dirty Farmers Community Market and the Greater Good Cafe is really a mission of love. And it can't happen without the support of the community. It can't happen without volunteers. And what I'd really like to see someday is more communities taking on this mission, reaching out to their community, addressing the food insecurities in their community. This is something that can be repeated no matter how big or small a community is. And I'd love to see that happen and us not be #1 for senior hunger someday.
Simple solutions to complex problems. You can find out more about the Dirty Farmers Community Market and the Greater Good Cafe by visiting their Facebook page. Joining us now is Kelly Bryant, the director of the Southeast Research and Extension Center in Monticello, and Andy Van Gilder, University of Arkansas Cooperative Extension Agent from Clay County. Kelly, I want to start with you, and we're looking at the history of the Cooperative Extension Service in Arkansas, and we heard a great deal about it, but really the first work began in 1905 when the Farmers Institutes began to be held in Arkansas, and we first started going out. How did that change farming practices? Because these guys and gals had been farming, mostly guys back then, had been farming with what they'd been handed down and taught.
Exactly, and you're talking about over 100 years ago, and there were a lot more people involved in farming at that time. And what they knew is what they'd been taught on their family farms. The other thing, there wasn't, the way information traveled back then was by letter or by word of mouth. And so when the Extension Service organization started, and now that information's available and can be carried to them, to their farm or to community meetings, then that makes a big difference. The other thing I think they realized early on is if they could start with some of the younger children and get a club of kids and teach them, they were quick learners, and then they would do a good job of educating even their parents.
Those future farmers.
Yes, yes.
We talked about the Smith-Lever Act that went into effect in 1914, and then the personnel grew, the number of agents that was out grew, and it was extended out, but not just farming practices, but home economics, public policy, government, economic development, and that continues to this day. What are some of the issues that you're working with now in your part of the state?
There at the Southeast Research and Extension Center, we got a lot of our emphasis on pest management. And so our entomologists have been working with some recent insects to Arkansas. The sugarcane aphid recently has moved to Arkansas and is invading grain sorghum fields. The kudzu bug is another insect that is just on the horizon. Over in plant pathology, our group helped discover a disease in soybeans this year we didn't know we had. And the same way with weeds. In weeds, it always seems to be resistant to herbicide.
Yeah. And you know, I've not heard the kudzu bug. That's a new one on me. I hadn't heard about that. But if you really want to learn about the role of the Cooperative Extension Service in Arkansas, you need to go nowhere further than their website, because it states programs on farming, families, food, and finances. I mean, there's something there for everybody, and with some of the programs that are very interesting. 4-H,
yes.
It goes back, harkens back to that when you said they were teaching the young people.
One of the programs we've got going right now is called a Vet Science Program. And there in Drew County, we had the local group come to our campus for one evening and use some microscopes. But these young, you know, small 5-, 6-, 7-year-old kids who are excited about how animals work, how to improve their health, and they'll carry that on into careers likely.
Very, very exciting group, and very proud that you guys are doing that. 6 million young people in the U.S. in 4-H. We talked about the Master Gardener program on the website, and a lot of work there that they do, not only helping individual Arkansans, but raising money for scholarships and grants.
It seems like those Master Gardeners are very philanthropic, and lots of groups all over the state. And there at UAM, we benefit from a couple of those organizations who provide scholarships to our college students. People you and I know who enjoy gardening, and they found that the Cooperative Extension Service is a good place to practice their science and work with other people, and always a fun group to work with.
And hopefully some of those grant dollars are going to finding ways to, which brings us to Andy, to deal with these herbicide-resistant weeds. And most people, mostly that are not directly involved with agriculture, may not realize the importance of what's happening here, because in the old days, growing up in southeast Missouri, I can remember even the times when you'd rake up those cuckleburs and burn them because you couldn't control them with anything but a hoe.
That's right.
So we're going back to that.
We're already there. We're doing the best we can with the herbicides we have available, but there's a lot of areas of the fields where you know, our farmers realize that I'm doing a pretty good job in the field, but I got to do other things. I got to do the turn rows and around the irrigation pipes. They've tried to do that. When the prices were good, that had a little extra money to do that, and we get into tougher times, and he has to dig deep in their pocketbook to try to fight this resistant weed. The pigweed, or Palmer amaranth, is the one that we have the most problem with now in Arkansas. It's a very troublesome weed.
Now, when I was growing up, we'd call it the careless weed.
Yep.
And that's what I knew it as.
Yep. A lot of people call it careless weed today. There was actually a different weed called the red root pigweed, was a cousin to it, you might say, that we dealt with then, and can still control that with Roundup herbicide that we did so well with the Palmer amaranth so many years. Then all of a sudden one day the Palmer amaranth is resistant to it, and now we're having trouble. And there's some fields in a lot of the counties in Arkansas that they're just almost abandoned because they can't combine them. They're just so growed up in these things, and it's become a problem. This year we did resistance studies to the herbicides that we're killing with now all over the state, and in my county 9 out of 10 samples had resistant weeds to the chemistry that we have been killing them with. So it's getting harder and harder to kill them.
And we heard a little bit in that piece about the financial impact, but I mean, we're talking about a costly situation, but also it's changing the way they have to farm.
Yes, I mean, some of my growers, we went back to what we did in the 60s and 50s and 60s, and we're chopping fields, and it all depends on the acreage they have. But one of my largest cotton farmers has been spending from $100,000 to $150,000 a year strictly for chopping cotton by hand hoeing it, and it gets to be an expense.
Are we seeing other varieties of weeds that are developing tolerance to chemicals like Roundup and Treflan?
There's several in Arkansas. We've got weeds like Johnson grass, giant ragweed. The horseweed is resistant to it. What people call mare's tail. That weed is horseweed, and those weeds are some of the weeds that have become resistant, and we're fighting them with different chemistries.
And what are some, I mean, you mentioned some of the chemistry, some of the chemicals that are on the horizon that might be able to battle these weeds, but it's tougher now.
It's right. We've got 2 new chemistries coming out. The dicamba brand of crops is called Roundup Ready Extend. It has dicamba mixed with it. And we have 2,4-D in one of the products. It's called Enlist crops. These 2 technologies are on the horizon. Enlist has been approved in some of our crops in Arkansas. Dicamba crop can be grown, but we're not labeled to use the dicamba in crop just yet. But it's the 2 technologies that we're looking to help us until maybe something is developed, because right now there's nothing else on the horizon that we know of.
And Kelly, this work at all 5 centers is geared toward exactly what Andy's talking about, not bigger yields, but also dealing with these problems.
Correct. Yeah. We've got work going on there at Monticello, working with those same weed resistant issues, as well as the other pests. So yes.
Well, at least maybe we can make some part-time money going back and sharpening the cotton hose on the tailgate of the truck. And
I'm sure if you miss it, Tony, we can get you a job.
I don't miss it, but I remember how to do it. Yes. So it's been some time.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. We've enjoyed visiting with you, and we hope to have you back again sometime.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you very much. That's all the time we have for now. We hope you will join us next time for Agri Arkansas. I'm Tony Brooks.
Major funding for this program provided by the Moving Image Trust Fund. Additional funding for this program provided by the Arkansas Agriculture Department.